These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, the panic is not just on the part of White House staffers. It's not just on the part of the Republican Party at large. It's not just on the part of Donald Trump himself. Karoline Leavitt is also in the thick of it. Talk about a job I would not want. Well, one, I wouldn't be in the employ of a credibly accused rapist of children. I would never work for Donald Trump, ever, so I would never be placed in that position. But she has chosen to do so, and now she has endeavored the impossible, which is defending the indefensible. Yesterday, her and Kash Patel got up on the stage, and at roughly 15 minutes, they took questions. For roughly 14 minutes, they took. So like half of it wasn't even a press conference. It was just them talking. And when the questions began, I mean, they do the thing where they throw to the one seat that's going to ask the preordained right-wing weirdo question. And then they open it up to the rest of the actual legitimate media. Of course, the very first question out of the gate is about Donald Trump. And that particular email here from April of 2011, where Jeffrey Epstein said, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. This particular redacted victim spent hours at my house with him. So Donald Trump was alone with one of the underage victims of sexual trafficking and sexual violence. For what? And this was a question that needed to be answered. It still needs to be answered because, spoiler alert, she doesn't answer the question.
Ouija.
Thank you, Karoline.
Sure.
I have your statement about the new Epstein emails that have been released by House Democrats. Mm-hmm. Separate from why you believe the emails were made public, can you address their substance? Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep.
Donald Trump's best friend of 15 years was a pedophile and a creep. Got it. Donald Trump's best friend was a pedophile and a creep. A-OK. Check. The other thing that really draws my attention is that these emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Is that right? He spent hours with one of the underage victims? What was he doing? Were they playing Scrabble? Karoline Leavitt? Were they playing Boggle? Isn't that the one where you click the button and all the dice with the letters on them pop up? Is that what they were doing? Just being professional, she said in another clip. How about this one? Does this also totally exonerate Donald Trump that he did nothing wrong? You see, I know how dirty Donald is, said Jeffrey Epstein in an email. Did that also prove that Donald Trump did nothing wrong? It's an impossible job. Here, she really steps in it by trying to convince the press, and then I guess through the press, the American people, that this is just a hoax. This is just, I think she says, manufactured Democrat hoax. By the way, again, another spoiler alert for you. They have not denied, they've not said, oh, these emails are fake. They've admitted that these emails are real, yet they're saying it's a hoax.
And it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office. But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. And it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
Yeah, that manufactured Democrat hoax. Wait, what's this? That's not the right picture. I didn't mean to print a picture of a bunch of right-wing MAGA influencer dipshits holding binders printed by the White House and distributed to them in the Oval Office that say, what is that? The Epstein Files Phase 1? What? Was the White House part of a Democrat manufactured hoax? Huh. That's perplexing, Karoline Leavitt. As perplexing as the performance that you're putting on in the White House press briefing room. Fantastic stuff. Now, she is asked about this Lauren Boebert meeting that took place in the Situation Room in the White House, not in some conference room or in the Oval Office, somewhere safe and secure and away from the intrusion of prying eyes or ears, where the Attorney General of these United States and several high-ranking Trump administration officials sequestered Lauren Boebert to try to get her to convince her to remove her signature from the discharge petition. She thankfully did not do so. But this was an all-out, full-court press to pressure one single sitting congresswoman. This isn't an act of transparency, which Karoline Leavitt's going to try to convince us of. This was just a pressure campaign. And why? Why go through all of this just to have the Epstein files not released? Because the Epstein files, I'll tell you, contain far more incriminating, far more damaging information than these emails that got released yesterday by the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee. It's a big deal. Watch this about the Boebert meeting.
Given your
Reagan.
interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns? That's a defining factor of transparency. Having discussions with members of Congress about various issues, and I'm not going to detail conversations that took place in the Situation Room in the press briefing room. Reagan.
I think fundamentally they have a hard time with words and what the definitions of words are. Secretly trying to convince a congresswoman to retract her signature from the discharge petition is in no way transparency. The fact that it got reported and found out doesn't mean you were transparent. And look, I will end it here. This is how it ends. It's them asking, the press asking a question about the idea that a pardon is being floated to Ghislaine Maxwell. She is currently in a minimum security. She is a convicted child trafficker, sex trafficker, the associate and former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump's best friend. And she's getting special treatment up and down the line. And many believe, including me, that this is all an effort to keep her silent, to keep her happy and comfortable as they can before Donald Trump issues either a clemency order or a full presidential pardon. And you will not be surprised that Karoline Leavitt does not say no, a flat no, when asked if Donald Trump is considering a pardon.
Stephen, go ahead.
As well, if the president is considering a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
Again, he's answered this repeatedly. It's not something he's talking about or even thinking about at this moment in time. I can assure you of that. Stephen.
Yeah, that's not a no. It's not something he's talking about or even thinking about at the moment. It should be absolutely not. Why would Donald Trump reward with a pardon, a convicted abuser of children? Why would he do that? That's not the answer. It's, he's not thinking about that right now. Mark my words, she will be getting special, unless Donald Trump dies because of his gravy-fueled cardiovascular system. Unless it's that, she's going to get pardoned. Because the Republican Party is absolutely, as Hakeem Jeffries has been coining them, a pedophile protection program. This is what they're running. They're attempting to extricate Donald Trump from the public finding out about his horrific crimes against children, or at the very least, his protection of his pals who are involved in these crimes. And it is pals because there are many people that we're now learning through this email dump that are involved, that are in active communication with Jeffrey Epstein up until like 2019. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. It is an important one. You can have it in the comments below the video, wherever you're watching it. You can also call the voicemail line and leave me a fewer than 3-minute voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. If you appreciate what I do and you want to help support this work, you want to help me produce this show, for $2 a month, you can do just that. Click the join button below this video, become a channel member on YouTube, or even better, go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. And for $2 a month, you can help support there. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.